Welcome back to the morning show. It's Wise Guy Wednesday, and as always, we have Matt Sullen, physics professor at the University of Illinois, here to teach us something interesting in everyday life that we can apply science to, and you just kind of take fun stuff and make us learn.
Right, I like stuff like that, and today, you know, we hear a lot lately. In fact, this morning on the news, we heard how the price of energy is going up, up. And so it's interesting to kind of try to figure out why and what we can do about this, because everybody says, well, eventually we're going to run out of oil. And we will eventually.
So we should have some kind of backup plan in place.
Well, yeah, but there is stuff that we know how to do right now, which gives us power in a way that we understand and which isn't all that expensive. And one of those things is nuclear generators.
Okay. You've got some equipment here. We've got a Geiger counter.
I do. And so the thing with nuclear energy is that it uses radioactive elements to basically give you heat.
How does that work? I mean, we're not being heated by the radiation.
Well, in a sense, we are, because when a uranium atom falls apart, fissions, okay, and which is what a nuclear reactor, or what happens in a nuclear reactor, the products that come out are just moving rather rapidly, and they bump into other atoms, and they slow down, and they heat up the other atoms. So basically, it's just heat.
It's just a way of making heat. Then.
It's just a way of making heat, and so that's why in a nuclear power plant like the Clinton plant, you have something that gets very hot. The fuel rods get very hot, and they heat water, and that water makes steam, and you turn generators with it, and so on.
So nuclear power than an alternative to using coal or oil to make the same kind of heat.
Right, and so if you use the nuclear power to make this heat, you don't have to use the coal or the oil, which we're going to kind of run out of.
Okay.
And so we have to be careful with that stuff. But what I just want to make people understand a little bit about this radiation, because people are very afraid of it. They think, well, nuclear power is radiation, everything else isn't, but everything is radioactive. Okay, and
radiation surrounds us.
Right, and so what I have here is a Geiger counter, and maybe you can hear this thing clicking every now and again. It's happily clicking along. What happens is there's a little cell inside the top of this thing, the head of this, and whenever some radiation goes in here, it makes a little clicking sound. And right now, it's making a little clicking sound every now and again just by being in this room. So there's radiation coming from me and from you, because of the elements that are in our bodies all the time. There's radiation coming from this wood, and things tend to be just naturally radioactive.
But this is not a dangerous kind of radiation that we need to be all freaky about, then.
No, of course not. Well, there's three types of radiation. There's alpha, beta, and gamma radiation.
Okay.
Alphas are great big heavy honking particles that don't get very far. They don't go through your skin. They won't even go through a piece of paper.
Okay.
That's the kind of radiation that you see inside smoke detectors, for example, in your home. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Beta radiation are just electrons, and they go a little bit farther. And gamma radiation are just very high energy light, like X-rays that you might get in your doctor's office, are the same kind, and they go through a lot of stuff, and they can damage you if you're
Now, if you had this near an X-ray machine, would it just go nuts and be registering all kinds of radiation?
This thing isn't so good at detecting X-rays, but yes, it would probably do that, because there's so many X-rays that come out of an X-ray machine. But what I wanted to mention is that everything is sort of naturally radioactive. And so here I have a bunch of rocks that somebody just picked up when they were hiking in the mountains. And if you just take the Geiger counter...
If I hold this up here, people can hear it a little better.
There we go. I put a microphone on it.
Oh, you did? Well, I wanted to hold it anyway. How's that?
Okay. And so these things are just naturally radioactive. Okay. Here I have some uranium that's actually depleted, so it has less of the radioactive stuff in it than...
Now, should I be diving for cover here?
No.
Okay.
But what you'll hear is that when I lift the lid off this thing, there's quite a bit of radiation coming out of this thing. But if I just put the lid on it, which is just an eighth of an inch of plastic, that absorbs most of it.
Okay, so it's not super strong anymore.
A lot of the stuff that comes out of here are alpha particles. They get absorbed very easily by this plastic, and it's not so bad.
Now, uranium's a naturally occurring mineral.
It's everywhere.
Do we have it in Illinois?
Good question. I don't know. I don't think we have. Well, maybe we do have uranium mines in Illinois. Maybe somebody can.
We don't want to pick up a uranium rock by mistake.
Right. Well, actually, we do. There's a lot of uranium is naturally occurring everywhere, and it has byproducts like radon. In fact, half the radiation on average that people get in their bodies throughout a year is from radon, which is a naturally occurring gas that comes from heavy things like uranium.
Okay, we'll talk about some occurring radiation.
Right. When we come back, I have all kinds of stuff that will surprise you that you can find in your house that are really radioactive.
Oh, good. Look forward to that. Matt Sullen, the Wise Guy, on Wise Guy Wednesday here on the Morning Show. It's time for a check of Storm Tracker weather. If you've got questions for the Wise Guy, you can just email them to the Wise Guy, or send it to www.wiseguy.net, or send it to the Morning Show at wcia.com. Now,